Hey, good morning, friends. Welcome to The Bright Side. I am Pharmacist Ben. Thanks for joining us. Our number today, 844-236-6010, 844-236-6010. If you have questions about health, nutrition, prescription drugs, if you want to wean yourself off your meds and get on a good nutritional supplement program, we can help you do that. 844-236-6010 is our number on The Bright Side. We'll be talking to Dr. and Mrs. Future at the bottom of the hour. Dr. Future and Mrs. Future have a radio program called The Dr. Future Show. They talk about technocracy and technology, and they've got some really interesting takes on what's going on in the world today. We'll talk to the Futures, Dr. and Mrs. Future, whom I've known for now going on 11 years or so. We'll talk to the Futures at the bottom of the hour about the future and about technology and technocracy. We'll get your calls in our next segment. 844-236-6010 is our number on The Bright Side. If you want to purchase longevity products, go to brightsideben.com, pharmacistben.com, or criticalhealthnews.com. You can purchase all your favorite longevity products, including the Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.5. New version of the BTT with a greater ORAC value and a smoother, less sweet taste than Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0. You can find that at brightsideben.com, pharmacistben.com, or criticalhealthnews.com, in addition to all the longevity products. You can also call 866-735-2470, 866-735-2470 if you want to purchase longevity products, or even better, if you want to start a home-based business and help spread the word about the power and importance of a good nutritional supplement program and perhaps make some money at the same time. If that sounds interesting to you, if you're an entrepreneur and you're looking for a good business, call 866-735-2470 for more info, or just click on the Join the Team link at brightsideben.com, pharmacistben.com, or criticalhealthnews.com. All right, we'll get your calls next segment at 844-236-6010, and Dr. and Mrs. Future will be with us talking technology and technocracy at the bottom of the hour. Perhaps you've heard about the new digital passport that everybody's going to be getting, digital vaccine passport that everybody's going to be getting here in the next couple of years, just to make sure you don't spread the virus. The virus. Craziness that's out there. I talked on our last program about Thomas Cowan's book, which I'm reading now, called The Contagion Myth, in which he presents a very interesting and compelling case that contagion, the idea that diseases spread through the air mysteriously, is actually a myth. And I don't know whether it's true or not, but I can tell you it's never been proven. Yes, it's never been proven. Contagion, the concept, is still one of those ideas that we all assume is true, but it's just never been scientifically verified. And of course, we know that if you buy into contagion myth, that makes us more susceptible to control, makes us more susceptible to the idea that we have to lock ourselves in the house, and makes us more susceptible to the idea that we all have to be vaccinated, we all have to be tested, and we all have to wear masks. Maybe we should start examining some of our myths, especially when it comes to how we take care of our bodies and how we take care of our health, because we know that throughout history, how we take care of our bodies and how we take care of our the ideas about how we take care of our bodies and how we take care of our health have been not always correct. They used to think that disease was caused by little arrows that elves shot at you from the grass. Or the number 9. Yes, they used to think the number 9 caused diseases. They knew the number 9 caused diseases. Or evil miasmas in the air. Anyway, book's The Contagion Myth by Thomas Cowan. We are talking about fungal infections. Now, fungal infections are real. Fungal infections have been verified. If you want a really cool book on fungi, get the book Entangled Life by Merlin Sheldrake. I'm reading it now. Man, is this awesome. All the things that fungi do. The fungal kingdom is everywhere. The fungal kingdom lives inside our bodies. The fungal kingdom is intertwined between the cells of plants. The fungal kingdom is responsible for the life of plants. The fungal kingdom digests pollutants, and they survive in outer space, and they induce psychedelic visions. Of course, we know that we get medicine from the fungal kingdom, and we also know that funguses cause disease. In fact, there's a book called Fungal Disease in Britain and the United States, where they call Candida a disease of antibiotics. Fungal infections mushroomed, if I could use that phrase. Fungal infections exploded as soon as we started saturating our environment with antibiotics in about the 1940s or 1950s. One of the most unpleasant manifestations of biological fungal infections in the human body is called thrush. Thrush is a pretty horrific fungal infection that occurs in the mouth and the throat. It's not life-threatening necessarily, but it's just horrific. You get this white fuzziness in your mouth and in your cheeks and the inside of your cheeks and down your throat and on your tongue. Obviously, it's very unpleasant. Thrush is oral candidiasis. It's a candida infection that occurs in the mouth. And it manifests as this white, creamy patch on your tongue or your inner cheek or even down your throat. And it can be pretty horrific to look at, especially if it's in your mouth. You can also have thrush in your genitals. And it's a result of overgrowth of candida, which under normal healthy conditions will exist in your mouth anyway. You do have thrush, you do have candida throughout the body, including in your mouth and in your genitals and in your system inside your body. But under certain conditions, particularly dysbiosis, which is always going to be associated with disease, with chronic disease, you can pretty much assume that if you have a chronic disease, you've got messed up gut bacteria. Dysbiosis is the medical term for messed up bacteria, messed up microbiome. I say gut bacteria, but they live everywhere. So that's another important point, by the way. Intestinal bacteria don't just live in the intestine. We call them intestinal bacteria when they're in the intestine, but they also live on the skin. They also live in the lungs. They also live throughout the body. And there's a certain balance between these bacteria, you can call them good bacteria, and fungal cells. And when we kill off our fungal cells by taking antibiotics or by eating antibiotic-laden food or even drinking chlorinated water or fluoridated water, fungal cells can overgrow. And these fungal cells can spread in the gums, the tonsils, the back of the throat. This usually happens in infants and in the elderly because you have to be pretty immune suppressed for these fungus to overgrow. So it typically will occur in patients who have suppressed immune systems or weakened immune systems. HIV patients will suffer from these candida infections, these oral candida infections. Babies and the elderly and folks in nursing homes and people who are on long-term immune suppressant medications like prednisone or cyclosporin. If you've had a kidney transplant or a liver transplant, they'll put you on a long-term a chronic, they'll put you for your entire life pretty much, they'll put you on immune suppressant medication, cyclosporin, which, by the way, cyclosporin itself is a fungally derived medication, irony of ironies. And, of course, long-term use of antibiotics, which Pharmacy 101 is you don't stay on an antibiotic for a long period of time. Nonetheless, there are people who are taking antibiotics for months or even years. In any case, all of this can result in thrush. And as early as the 1950s, which is just a mere 10 years after antibiotics first came into common use in the early 1940s, it was recognized that there was a relationship between these really important and revolutionary pharmaceuticals, the antibiotics, and yeast overgrowth. So we knew about this. We knew about the problems associated with antibiotics pretty much within 10 years after we started taking them. As a culture, that is. All right, I'm Pharmacist Ben. 844-236-6010 is our number. We'll get your calls next segment. We'll be back on the bright side right after this. Okay, we are back on the bright side. I'm Pharmacist Ben. If you're on hold, hang tight. We'll get your calls here momentarily. 844-236-6010. 844-236-6010 is our number. If you want to purchase longevity products, call 866-735-2470. All right, Dr. Future, Dr. and Mrs. Future will be with us at the bottom of the hour. We'll talk about technology and technocracy. They have a radio program on KSCO, and also I think it's a podcast too. Called the Dr. Future Show, where they talk about various futuristic subjects. I've known the Futures for many years. I remember Dr. Future about maybe 9 years ago walking around with Google glasses. He's one of the first guys to have Google glasses. He's a Silicon Valley guy. Anyway, we'll talk to the Futures at the bottom of the hour. We'll get your calls here momentarily. So this whole idea of fungal infections and as a disease of modern pharmacology just exemplifies how we misplace our lionization and deification of the medical model. Yes, it's true, modern medicine is amazing. It can do amazing things. Nonetheless, it may be deifying it and putting it up on a pedestal, maybe not 100% accurate, or it may not serve us. And we see that candida or overgrowth of candida infections are associated with how we worship medicine. We all think that, at least in the 1940s and 1950s, we were just amazed by the miraculous nature of antibiotics and how you didn't have to worry about your babies dying when they caught a cold anymore. And but then 10 years later, all of a sudden we saw that there was a disease caused by, or a health challenge that was becoming endemic in the culture that was caused by overuse of antibiotics. And these are the kinds of things that happen in medicine. What's clear and what's true and what's always been true is if you build a strong body, you're not going to get sick. If you build a strong body, if you build a healthy body, you're not going to get sick. Now, some people say that's blaming the victim. Oh, they didn't deserve to get sick. Oh, they had nothing to do with it. It just happened to them. And I'm not saying that if you get sick and it has to do with a weakened immune system or a weakened body, that it's your fault or that you want to take blame or that you're a bad person. I'm just saying this is where power comes from. If you accept that you have control over how your body responds to the environment, that gives you a sense of power. Yes, you have to take responsibility now, but it gives you a sense of control. You don't need a vaccine. You don't need an antibiotic. You don't need to interact with the medical model for your diabetes or for your blood pressure. You can make better choices, better food choices, better lifestyle choices. And that's power. That gives you a certain degree of control. There's certain inevitabilities, entropy rules. Crap happens, as they say. So there's certain parameters, of course, within which you have control, and outside of those parameters, things can happen. But we have much more control than we're led to believe. This is from the New York Post. Representative Adriano Espelot diagnosed with COVID-19 after getting vaccine. New York Representative Adriano Espelot has tested positive for COVID-19 after completing his vaccination against the virus, because we don't examine our beliefs. We just believe and assume, and I'm not just saying we as people, the media, medical representatives, people believe that a vaccine will keep you from getting infected. That's not what's going to happen. Nobody knows if the vaccine is going to keep you from getting infected, and very likely it won't. And nobody knows if it's going to prevent transmission, and it very likely won't. If there's this mass crazy movement to have everybody vaccinated, whether or not they've been exposed. Do you know you could have been exposed and you could have your own antibodies? They're still going to want to vaccinate you, or you can't go shopping, or you can't go on a plane, or you can't go into another country, or you can't even go into another state, maybe. Because we don't examine our preconceived ideas, our preconceived beliefs. We take on beliefs like a fish takes on a worm. We walk around with our minds open, like a fish's mouth is open in the ocean looking for food, and we just suck up any belief that's given to us. We just believe any story that's told to us without examining it. And it's one thing if you want to absorb beliefs mindlessly when it has to do with what car you're going to buy, and advertisers take advantage of this. But it's another thing when it has to do with your health, the health of your loved ones, the health of your family, the health of your friends. It's not fair. And it's not fair for somebody to do it to us, to feed us beliefs, and it behooves all of us to filter them, to see if they make sense or not. In the case of vaccines, have you ever heard that a vaccine will stop transmission or stop infection? No. Nobody ever said that. They implied it, but they never said it because it's not true. All right, 844-236-6010. Sorry to go off on a rant here. We'll continue talking about Candida and what you can do about it. And I also want to talk about the yeast connection. Dr. William G. Crook's really seminal and as well as important and revolutionary book about how you deal about what yeast infections are and how you deal with chronic yeast infections and the yeast connection to chronic disease. All right, let's go to Mary in Oregon. Where you been, Mary? Long time no talk to.
Yeah,
Mary?
I know. I've been very, very busy. That's why I couldn't call you.
Okay, well, I hope you're healthy and well, and Happy New Year.
Hey, Ben, I live the way I'm supposed to, so I'm as healthy as could be, and Happy New Year to you, too.
I know you are. I've known you now for 10 years or so, and you are a healthy, strong, vibrant, and very intelligent woman. We only got 2 minutes here. What's going on, Mary?
Okay. I know that Dr. Wallach does not believe in genetic diseases, and neither do I. I believe what he says. What do you think think about genetic tendencies in the womb?
Yeah, no, when he says he don't believe in genetic diseases, he doesn't mean that you can't have genetic changes that occur due to malnutrition in the womb. What he means is that the genetic change that occurs in the womb, as you point out, is not a function of heredity as much as it's a function of a poor womb environment for the fetus. See what I'm saying? It's not that he doesn't believe that there's genetic modifications. It's just that he says they're not hereditary, they're epigenetic. Does that make sense, Mary?
Oh, yeah, I understand that completely, and I forgot to add that I also want to know what you think about psychological genetic tendencies.
Absolutely. Epigenetic psychology is absolutely an epigenetic factor. Absolutely. Every thought you think, Mary, every feeling you have, every emotion, if you will, is connected via biochemistry to your genes. You change your genes with your thoughts. Your genes are constantly changing. That means every time you think of one thought even, I don't know if it's one thought, but certainly a complex of thoughts will change your biochemistry and ultimately change your genes via the hormone system. But I think even one thought will do it. You know, the genes are extremely flexible, extremely labile. They're moving and they're changing. They're part of the survival system of the human, so they're or of an animal, I should say, or of a cell, actually. And so they represent the cell's ability to respond to the environment. And the more flexible the gene is, the more responsive the gene is, the more likely the cell is going to be to survive. The healthier the cell will be. So genetics are very responsive to the environment, and that's a really good thing. That means we have so much control. Because how we respond to the environment in the macro sense, our psychology and our physiology will change how our cells respond to the environment at the micro or the genetics at the genetic level. All right, Mary, thank you for your call. Good to talk to you. And we'll be back on the bright side with the Dr. and Mrs. Future right after this. Don't go away. All right, we are back on the bright side. I'm Pharmacist Ben. We're on the air Monday through Friday, 8 to 9 Pacific and 10 to 11 Central Time, and 24/7 on the archive page at benfuchsarchives.com, also brightsideben.com. We have a search engine plus 11 years, going on 11 years of daily Brightside radio programs with lots of good health information. You can review or search, use the search engine to check out a specific topic if you like. You can also purchase longevity products at brightsideben.com, pharmacistben.com, and criticalhealthnews.com. And don't forget to take a look at our Truth Skin Health products, all formulated in my compounding pharmacy for healing wounds and various skin health issues like eczema, psoriasis, and acne. As it turns out, healing the skin beautifies it, and that's the missing link in beauty products. They don't heal. If a beauty product doesn't heal, if you can't put it on a cut or a scrape, or your baby's diaper rash, it's not a beauty product, because the same mechanisms that heal the skin beautify it, and that's what Truth treatments are all about. Never any preservatives, fragrances, fillers, waxes, emulsifiers, silicone, vegetable oil, water, nothing your skin doesn't need or doesn't want in any of our Truth Skin Health products. They're all available at truthtreatments.com. And don't forget to take a peek at our 1,500 plus 4- and 5-star reviews at truthreviewed.com, truthreviewed.com, and truthtreatments.com for our Truth Skin Health products. All right, I'm really excited to speak to our guests, good friends of mine. I've known them for going on 11 years. I remember when I first met Dr. and Mrs. Future about 11 years ago. I was just blown away by the stuff they knew about technology, but not just technology, but how technology is relevant, how technology is associated with the mind, how technology is associated with our body, how technology is associated with the culture, how it's all links together. Dr. and Mrs. Future have been hosting the Dr. and Mrs. Future show for 11 years now, where they talk about high-tech breakthroughs and as well as the evolution of consciousness, which is really what I love talking about with the Futures. Dr. Future, a.k.a. Al Lundell, was the first West Coast editor of Byte magazine, BYTE, that is. And he's right in he and Mrs. Future are right there in the belly of the beast of technocracy and technology, the Silicon Valley. Please welcome to the bright side, Dr. and Mrs. Future. Hey, guys.
Hey,
Good morning.
thanks for the introduction.
Yeah, great to talk to you. I've been wanting to get you on the program for a long time. I'm just going to cut right to the chase here, okay? Technology.
Sure.
technology has a bad rap, technocracy and the abuse of technology. But one of the things I loved about you guys from the minute I met you is that you see the really beautiful side of technology. And there is a beautiful side to technology. Technology just meaning tools, the science of how to use tools, but advanced technology, advanced tools. You really have a passion and a love for all things that have to do with these kinds of information tools, if you will, because ultimately everything is information. So how do you balance this out with the potential abuse of technology, with the really amazing, mind-blowing things that technology can bring us?
Well, the thing is about technology, as you mentioned, it's a tool. It's a two-edged sword. It can go either way. So it really depends on your awareness, on your consciousness, and how you wield those tools. That's the important thing. And we try to look at how it can evolve us in a good way. And it's very powerful in that it can destroy us, but it can also bring us into more evolved awareness.
So is there? Oh, go ahead, Mrs. Future.
That technology is part of human evolution, is part of the evolution of life. It's not separate. And so, like in the creative force, we fill it with our intentions. And so it's very important to fill it with the intentions of the greatness that we can achieve, because nature does to extend nature's grasp. We do that with our intelligence.
So would you say that technology has to have the right context for it to be a force for good? It has to occur within the right context, the right mental or consciousness context?
Well, I say intention, so you could call that a mental context, but we have to ask technology to do things that are wonderful. And we're from the Think Different generation, where we really saw the world take off with all the new possibilities of being connected in a way that we never were before. Right?
Absolutely.
So if we're not ready mentally or through consciousness, or advanced enough mentally or through consciousness, and we still have the ability to work with technology, can't that be dangerous?
Well, I would say that we have everything goes in cycles, and we are in the labor pains of birthing the era of our society. So we have to figure out how to deal with the negative undercurrents of the troll culture that we currently find ourselves in. But I think we're going to transcend it, because there is a lot more power in joy, optimism, creativity, togetherness.
Way more fun.
Way more
fun. Right. Yeah, we're not leveraging fun. We're not taking advantage of the fun aspect of things, right? We're so stuck in our survival brain. Go ahead.
Yeah. The amygdala. Stuck in the amygdala.
The reptilian brain. Right. The fun is
right.
The fun is in creativity and imagination and play, which are not part of the survival, not in the world of the amygdala.
That's right. And yet they have to coexist with the amygdala. We've got to be the full human here.
I guess,
we probably need to
go ahead.
In a society that doesn't capitalize on fear and manipulation, and we have to capitalize on generosity, human potential, actually. We really need to prioritize different qualities of who we are as humans.
Yeah, we're far more than brainstem.
Yeah, as you're talking, I'm thinking of when, like a few years ago, Dr. Future, remember you were walking around with those Google glasses?
Yes.
When they first came out. And so to me, with that was cool in itself, but there was a metaphor there, and that's how you see the world. You see the world, you, Dr. Future, and Mrs. Future, you guys see the world through the lens of technology. And because you're positive, people, you see the positive things that can happen with it.
We can. And at the same time, the Bay Area where we live is also a cauldron for understanding human nature itself. When I met Mrs. Future, for example, she had been in a community in San Francisco that had been exploring new lifestyles and understanding relationships.
Yeah, we call it culture sculpture. And, life
that's great. That's great. Culture sculpture. That is awesome, because that's what we want to do. We want to consciously sculpt our culture, and we want to consciously sculpt our lives, I believe. And that's kind of interesting how you said that about San Francisco and about the Bay Area, because there's kind of like, there's a sort of two opposite ways of life that are parallel. They're opposite, but they're together in a way. And that's the honoring of the body and honoring of the physical world, as well as the honoring of the mental world and of ideas. And it's kind of like a cool little melding that you have out there. And you guys live that way too.
We do. We have a stationary bike, and we put on our VR goggles, and we go and take a bike tour of Yosemite on our stationary bike.
In VR. In VR.
Yeah, VR useful for mind-body connectivity. When you use it in that context, you can use it to become just a blob of protoplasm if you wanted to, but if you combine it with things like stationary bikes,
you're exercising your body, you're working with your body. We have a little disconnect there. I hope we didn't lose the futures. All right, we're talking. Oh, you're still here. Okay, good. So we're talking to Dr. and Mrs. Future about the future. When we come back, I want to talk about the vaccine passport and the vaccine. I want to hear what the futures have to say about that. I'm Pharmacist Ben. You're listening to The Bright Side. We'll be back after this. We are back on The Bright Side. I'm Pharmacist Ben. We're talking to Dr. and Mrs. Future of the Dr. and Mrs. Future show on KSCO once a week. And you got archives and all kinds of, you can get on through KSCO, you can get the archives on that, right, guys?
Absolutely. 11 years, just like you.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think, we started probably about the same time doing this. So before I want to get into this vaccine passport thing, but before we do, you kind of touched on this idea of VR, which I absolutely love, and you've been telling me about VR since I met you. What it's going to do, and the more I study VR and the more I look at it, sometimes I wonder if we're not in VR. You know what I'm saying? Like, the reality is virtual in a way. We're synthesizing it, right, in our brains. It's like just waves out there, and somehow it turns into our reality. So we are in VR in a certain kind of way. But when you do what you're saying, when you put the helmet on and you get on the bike, it kind of separates your mind from your body a little bit, so you can kind of see the distinction between the two, right?
You definitely become aware of the fact that you are in a different reality all of a sudden. It's almost like an altered state, but as soon as you take the helmet off, you're back to normality.
Yeah, it is an altered. It's totally an altered state because your mind is entering into a different. It's an altered reality. It's entering into a programmed reality somehow, which is kind of amazing. You begin to see yourself as a mind. You begin to see that you're really a mind, separated from your body.
We're experimenting with some new programs in VR that really allow you to start combining your mind with other minds in very interesting ways.
Whoa. Is that already out there? That's already out there?
Yeah. Experiments being done at Stanford and University in Lisbon, in Portugal, and we're part of a beta experimental group where your body isn't you perceive each other as a cloud of energy. And you can move your cloud.
Oh, come on.
It's pretty interesting.
In VR, you put the VR helmet on and everybody becomes a cloud of energy?
Yeah. And then you can combine clouds into one, where you all feel like you are in the same, body together, or same mind together.
Oh, my goodness. What does that do for your perspective in real life? Like when you go home or you're driving?
Feel more connected with people, so in a sense it brings the socialization that normally you would not experience, where you feel like you have a good conversation with someone in person. It can be like that, only they're far away and you felt like you somehow been with them or held them in a way. That's fascinating.
Yeah, for me, I felt like I had just come out of an ecstatic meditation with friends.
That's awesome. Is it because you lost your ego in a way? Like your boundaries are gone? Like your sense of separation?
Well, it's the loss of ego. It was the profound sense of being connected. The very thing that everybody in this COVID era is talking about is the sense of being separated. Right. It was a profound sense of being deeply connected to all life, just because you were in this space that had no boundaries, but your presence and other people's presence were mingling like clouds of dust. I mean, it was a beautiful experience.
Yeah, we'll send you some info.
Please do. Please do. What's it?
It's called Enuma.
Say again. I'm sorry. You guys are kind of cutting out just a little bit. Tell me what it's called.
Enuma.
Enuma. A-N or A-P-N?
N-U-M-A.
A-P-N-U-M-A. Enuma. I'm sorry, you guys I'm losing you. Okay, so I'll have to catch you after because you're cutting out just a little bit. So what do you guys think about this vaccine passport, using information, or even more broadly, the accumulation of data, of people's personal data, shapes, biometrics, that kind of thing? Does that trouble you at all?
Yes.
Very much.
Yes. Very dangerous, especially since it's probably not even necessary for better health. You know, the vaccine can be abused as a form of control, and we're very concerned about that.
And we're in an era where leaders are flagrantly violating laws. They're making up their own rules. They're going around the legislature. They're, not interested in whether the Constitution allows it or not. They're not preserving our traditions. So for them to start proposing to attach things that are public rights and consumer rights, like travel, to this kind of arbitrarily closed-door decision to make people get vaccinated when the injection itself is highly experimental, is an invasion of the right to informed consent. It's a very slippery slope towards the totalitarian manipulation of the public, and I strongly disagree with it.
And there are prophylactics we could use.
Sure. There's just taking care of yourself. How's that? Just vitamin C.
Enhance the immune system. What a concept.
See, what a concept, right? You want to talk about high technology? Have you studied the immune system, the chemistry, the digital chemistry of the immune system? Because it is kind of digital chemistry. Chemistry is digital, by the way. Biochemistry is digital. It's not analog. It's on off.
Yeah, there's a department at MIT studying that aspect of it. It's a whole new way of thinking about the immune system that mainstream medicine has not yet adopted. And
this idea. Go ahead. It's like an information processing system.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Processing, and it's also part. It also is part of a larger ecosystem with thousands, not millions, of other microbes that are part of its milieu, if you will.
Yeah, something that fascinates me is the idea that a virus is, say, 70 to 80,000 times smaller than a cell.
Yeah.
And a cell is a trillionth of our body, and yet, cells themselves are only a certain portion, and then the microbiome is like another portion of our body. And it's an ecosystem we barely know about.
Also, the virome. You have viruses that live in your body, like you have microbes. You have a mycobiome, a world of mushrooms or fungus, actually, in your body. You even have a parasitome. You even have a world of parasites, and we're a complete ecosystem that is so elaborate and complicated that there's no way, even in thousands and thousands of years, we could understand or figure it all out.
Yeah. I was talking to Paul Stamets about that the other day.
Oh my goodness! I love Paul. Is he Santa Cruz? Is he a Santa Cruz guy?
He was here. He was here for a debut of a film on mushrooms that is just kind of called The Fungi. It's an amazing film, by the way.
I'm reading the book Fantastic Fungi right now, actually, and we've been talking about it. Yeah. I'm reading it as we speak.
It's a great book, and the website that goes with it is full of the most amazing slow-mo photography
of mushrooms. They're amazing. Do you know they make computers out of slime molds? Do you know about that stuff? They're using slime molds. Slime mold computers. Slime molds conduct information or process information like a computer. Slime mold cells, and they generate electrical charges. And these huge organisms, fungal computers. Go ahead.
It sounds like Dune from Frank Herbert.
Yeah, I've heard of it in science fiction, but that's great to know.
Isn't that great to know?
Yeah, I'd like to know more about that. That's reality.
Yeah. I don't know if they actually have them yet, but it's kind of like they're cooking with it. It's in the works because slime molds have this electrical property and they store information, and really all cells do. All cells are digital. And there's this thing, you know about digital biology? You guys know about digital biology?
Well, generally, but you're probably talking.
It's a school. It's an academic. There's digital physics. Yeah, the world is the whole digital nature of things, and that gives us power to work with it. It's not just hypothesizing or just philosophizing. You can really have a lot of power over your body if you understand how it processes information and how it works at the digital level, the on-off level, because that's choice, right? That's what you're talking about intent.
Sure.
That's the power of intent is based on the digital nature of everything. But we're not led to believe that because it doesn't look that way. Because our eyes dampen the spaces between the digits, so it looks analog, right? It looks kind of like smooth and continuous. I think even Einstein couldn't handle that nature, the discrete nature of reality as digital. I think he kind of freaked out about it.
Well, the future is the resolution keeps getting better.
I love it. I love it.
I'm thinking that VR might be the way in which VR might be a way in which the digital nature of reality could be enhanced.
You know what? I want to talk to you about that because that sounds interesting. I'm not exactly sure what you're saying, but we're out of time, Dr. Future. But I want you to hang on. Will you hang on the line because I want to just say goodbye to you guys?
Sure,
Thank you.
No problem.
That was as invigorating as I thought it would be, intellectually invigorating, Dr. and Mrs. Future, and their radio program is the Dr. Future Show, and you can get that at ksco.com, ksco.com. By the way, KSCO does an awesome job, and it's a super cool independent radio station with lots of good stuff on the air, ksco.com. And that's all the time we have for today on The Bright Side. Thanks for listening, friends. I am Pharmacist Ben. Have a wonderful, beautiful, awesome, spectacular day. We'll talk to you later, folks. Bye for now.